So, guys at Fermented World, I had to redo this video, so we are here to do We Be Jammin, which is a mead that I've made with jam. I'm going to rack this off today because there's a hell of a lot of sediment in there, which is caused maybe by the jam. I'm not sure, never really seen that much, and strangely enough it's more active at the back where there seems to be a higher level. Maybe the jam didn't break down, maybe it didn't mix in. I'm not sure. I did just clump it in instead of like mixing it into some water and heating it up, which is probably what I should have done. So we're going to rack this off, then we're going to put it into this pitcher. I'm going to take a hydrometer reading to see where we're at with that, and when I've got the hydrometer, that is. So yeah, let's take this off. The old bong, and just pop that in there for now, out of the way. I'm going to get another glass actually. Pardon me. I might use this jam jar, honey jar, that'll do, just to get that out of my way. Alright, so hydrometer test, so we can check what the ABV is, see what it's like. I've already tasted it yesterday, but I did something wrong on the video, so I've come back and redone it properly this time. It's a simple mistake, but should always try and rectify one's mistakes if possible. Right, yesterday it was at 1.008. Yeah, it's about the same still, 1.008. So that can go into the pitcher. I've already tasted it, so I don't need to taste it again. We're going to get the auto siphon. That's going to go into there like that. Now, I don't mind whether it gets some of that lees, because I'm going to be adding honey to this to try and get it going a bit further, because it didn't have a very big start ABV, and ideally you kind of want, it depends what you want really. I mean, you can have a low ABV, you can have a high ABV. If I can get it higher, I'd rather have a higher one, but I'm just trying to get it off all of that lees that's in the bottom there. And I think my auto siphon's broke because it keeps on pumping air through. That's not good. That's not good at all. See, it gets to a certain point where it stops making the noise, but then it'll go again, look, in a second. There you go. I don't know. Probably need a new one. Could cause a problem with oxygenation, could ruin the brew, but we won't know until it's bottled and we wait and taste it later on. If it tastes like ass, chances are it's, yeah. So what's going on here? It's clogged with particles. That's what the problem is. Never a dull moment. Right, okay, rest that there, and I need something to clean that out with now. Bloody hell. You try to do one thing and something else fucks up, doesn't it? Nice big gunky piece of orange peel there. We don't want that. Oh, go on, you piece of shit. Everything's always difficult, isn't it? Nothing's ever bloody simple. Let's go at it again. Hopefully without orange peel this time. Well, it's the rind, isn't it, from the marmalade. It's really bothering me, all that air that's coming through that. It's coming up through there as well. There must be some sort of like a gap in there that's just not being plugged by the part that goes down when you plunge it. Definitely need a new one. It's annoying as well because it's not even that old. I just slipped that then and all those little bits have started moving around, which is not what you want. Now I do want some of that yeastiness at the bottom there, because otherwise this might not carry on fermenting. But I just don't want all of it. So deliberately entering some into it there. I think it's clogged again. Right. I think that's about all we're going to get from that. I know I've taken some of the gunk, but I did want it because, like I say, I need it to help this carry on fermenting. So I'm going to take this and this over to the sink where we've got some sanitizer waiting to wash this in. Give it a quick rinse off, nice and clean, ready for when we put it out of the pitcher and back into the demijohn. So quickly let's do this. That's not what I wanted to happen. Get all that quick and let that rest there. Right, so yes, we are now going to put this back into a demijohn. So I'm going to go clean this demijohn out because I don't have any spares at the moment. I'm going to go clean this out because it's got a load of crustiness from the top there and it just doesn't look pretty. That's in the pitcher. Yeah, I'm going to cut out, go wash this out, and I'm back. Back once again like a renegade tractor. So now I'm going to be adding more honey while it's in the pitcher. You can go up to about 450 litres and you'll be okay with a bit of headroom in there, hopefully. If not, we'll just have to put less in, less back into the thing. So we're going to add honey now. After adding honey, we take another hydrometer reading. So that we know what we've managed to ramp it up to. And as we stir this in, we're going to be degassing it as well, getting rid of a bit of that waste gas that's in there. I'm not sure why, but it does get trapped in there. And it can give some off flavours if you don't really get it all out. Now, I've never really been too anal about it, but I haven't tasted the first batch of brews that I've done, so I don't know whether they're going to have like a funky taste or not. So So I'm just gonna go all the way and whack all this one in. That one was open from topping up the sack mead that I'm doing there. Hopefully that doesn't go any higher than the 4.5. Hopefully stays a little bit under, but I don't think it is. I think it's gonna kind of stay there. I'm not measuring again how much I've put in really. That had about half in. No, sorry, that had about half in. That had a little smidge, and that had one. So I'll just estimate roughly what was there. And it's near as damn it all in now anyway, so we're going to stir it. And we're going to stir it real good. We want all of that honey to be dissolved back into the liquid, and we want to try and get some of the gas out of it as well. Honey's consistency is quite thick, so you do have to keep going and going and going and going. Don't just do it on the outside as well. You've got to do it on the center, in the center as well, because that's where it will sit. As you're churning it round, it will just make a little deposit in the middle, and you need that mixing in as well. Something Brian says, Brian and Derica from City Steading, you want to check their channel out, it's brilliant. It's where I've learned a lot of stuff over the last 6 months. And yeah, they always say that once you think you're done stirring the honey in, stir some more, because the chances are it's not done yet. I mean, I can still visually see some of the chunks of honey there. So if I was to do this again with a jam of some sort, I would probably melt the jam down into water, because I don't think I got the starter gravity right, because it said, oh, I've took my book in there now, it said it was 144 I think to start, which is, no, sorry, 180 to start, which is okay, but it's still quite, what would you say, quite low for the amount of jam that was in it and the amount of honey that was in it. I think there was 600 grams of honey, then 445 of each jam, roughly, because some of it had been used, but we're only guessing there. Stirring, stirring, stirring. And while we're doing this as well, like I said, we're taking some of that gas out. As long as you're not whipping it up, you're okay to do this. But make sure that everything's sterilised, because at this point, you know, there's a high ABV in there probably. I haven't calculated this one yet, but that sometimes can protect your brew as well. With the alcohol tolerance, it kind of just cleans anything that gets in there, but there's always a risk of infection. Yeah, that's proper in there now. Yeah, lovely jubbly. So as you saw, I did take some of the lees out of the bottom because I wanted it back in the demijohn to help it to just ferment that extra sugar. If it doesn't ferment that extra sugar in that honey, it's going to be very, very sweet. So now we're going to take a hydrometer test again. I'm going to rinse that out because it had the other brew in. Just quick with the splosh, just to get any residue left over from the last one. When we checked this a second ago, and get this in there, get a good slurp of that into the test tube, like some mad scientist, getting it all over the place as usual. Right, that's ramped that up something chronic, like crazy chronic. It's gone up to, let me just go get my notebook. In fact, no, I won't bother yet. I will add it later because I need to crack on. Just let it settle, bobbing about 3246, 36. Make a note of that in your head. Always write your stuff down, because now I know that that's gone up from 0.8 to 36, which is, say, roughly 20 odd whatever bricks, which now the yeast that's in there is going to try and break down. If it can't break it down, it will just give up. So that can go back in the picture, because there's a big drop from the top of there to the bottom, and we don't really want to make any more oxygen go in. I can take this cap off now because I'm not trying to stop the yeast from going in. I can take everything that's in here and put it back into there. When you siphon in, you always have the thing you're siphoning into lower than the vessel you're taking it from, because it uses suction, but then it also uses gravity. We'll just let that do its thing. And there's little bits of honey in there now as well, which I'm not too bothered about. I'll just put them in another brew. I'm not going to waste it. We've done the hydrometer, siphoning it back into here. I'm just going to clean out this air trap with a bit more sterilised water. Just clean it up because it had a bit of gunk in it from when it overshot the mark. Better. Now this was very active when it first went off, so I have sterilised the stuff ready for a blow-off tube just in case I need it within the next hour or so, which is a possibility, because once you reintroduce more sugars, that yeast is going to just, hopefully, fingers crossed, start attacking it, eating through it and producing more alcohol. Here I have got a kit that I've been messing around with. This is a Turkish Delight Stout. So I literally melted down some Turkish Delight and whacked it in with the stout. That's going to be hopped tomorrow. Woohoo! Hot day. I've got this here, which is my pinter. Oh, that's got 10 pints of Public House Ale, IPA, and that'll be going in to cold crash in the beer fridge later. Still some gloopy bits in here. But we kind of want them because there could be bits of yeast that's going to help this carry on fermenting. There we go. That's as much as we're getting from that. In there, and we'll go wash this out in a second. Just pop it over here. We won't be needing that again today. And we'll bring it back up here now. And get that out of the way. So, all we do now is we reattach the airlock. The vessel's been cleaned out and sterilised. We've added honey. The yeast should start settling down and eventually, with a bit of luck, start fermenting that honey. If not, we haven't added a great deal to it, so it shouldn't be overly sweet, but it'll hopefully balance the raspberries, because that's what I got when I had the raspberry flavoured jam. I could taste the raspberries in that. So down that goes onto there, and we'll just keep an eye on that. So I did put stoppers in the maybe mediocre experiment, natural fermentation, but it doesn't seem to want to have stopped. So I've lowered it down somewhere a bit cooler to see if that aids with the stoppage. So for the next part, we're going to be checking the sake. Now I really don't want to check this sake because it's a bit of a problem child for me.